Before this story pulls you in too deep, smash that subscribe button, hit like, and drop a comment, because once this unfolds, there's no turning back. The red and blue lights cut through the darkness of the empty highway like a warning flare. It was just after midnight when Officer Daniel Reyes eased his patrol car behind a grey sedan drifting slightly over the lane line. Nothing dramatic. No chase. No sirens screaming urgency. Just another routine traffic stop on a quiet stretch of road outside a mid-sized American city. The kind of stop cops make thousands of times a year. The sedan rolled to a stop beneath a flickering streetlight. The driver stayed still. Too still. As Reyes approached the vehicle, his instincts began to itch. The driver's hands were visible on the steering wheel, but they were shaking. The passenger seat was empty, yet the car smelled faintly of bleach and something metallic underneath it. When Reyes asked for license and registration, the driver hesitated, not the normal confusion of someone nervous, but the pause of someone calculating. The license belonged to a man named Evan Cole. Mid-30s. No outstanding warrants. Clean record. Too clean. As Reyes glanced into the back seat, his flashlight caught something odd, a folded top partially shoved beneath a gym bag. It didn't belong in a commuter car at midnight. Dispatch crackled over the radio. A missing persons alert had just gone out, a woman last seen less than 10 miles from this very road. Reyes felt the air shift. He asked Evan to step out of the vehicle. Evan complied, but his eyes never stopped darting toward the trunk. When asked where he was headed, his answer changed twice in the same sentence. Sweat ran down his neck despite the cold night air. Backup arrived. A K-9 unit circled the vehicle, stopping abruptly at the rear bumper. The dog began to bark. Evan's calm shattered. He bolted. The chase was short but violent, ending with Evan pinned face down on the asphalt, screaming that they were making a mistake. As officers secured him, Reyes opened the trunk. Inside was a cooler, sealed with duct tape. When they lifted the lid, the smell hit first, overwhelming, unmistakable. What lay inside wasn't just evidence of a crime. It was proof that this traffic stop had uncovered something far darker than anyone was prepared for. And as the officers stared in stunned silence, they realized this wasn't the end of a story. It was the beginning of a nightmare. By the time dawn broke, the stretch of highway was sealed off with yellow tape, flashing lights still pulsing like a heartbeat that refused to slow. What began as a simple traffic stop had exploded into a full-scale homicide investigation. Evan Cole sat in the back of a patrol car, his face drained of color, repeating the same sentence over and over, "You don't understand what you found." Detectives soon confirmed the worst. The contents of the cooler matched the missing persons alert that had gone out hours earlier. The victim was a woman named Marissa Lane, 28 years old, last seen leaving her night shift at a nearby diner. There were no signs of a struggle at the stop itself, which meant whatever happened to her occurred somewhere else, somewhere still unknown. Inside Evan's car, investigators uncovered more red flags. Receipts for industrial cleaning supplies. A burner phone hidden beneath the driver's seat. A storage unit key taped behind the sun visor. None of it fit the profile of a man with no criminal history. It felt staged, like someone had carefully erased their past but missed a few crucial details. Detective Laura Mitchell took lead on the case. She had seen enough violent crimes to know when something didn't add up. Evan wasn't acting like a mastermind. He was terrified, not of the police, but of something else. During his first interrogation, he barely spoke about Marissa. Instead, he kept asking if anyone else had been arrested. When Mitchell pressed him, his voice cracked. "She wasn't supposed to die," he said. "That wasn't the plan." Those 4 words shifted the investigation in a dangerous direction. As detectives traced Marissa's last known movements, they discovered she had been texting someone new in the days before she vanished. The number wasn't saved under a name. Just a single letter, R. The burner phone from Evan's car contained the same number, but all the messages had been deleted. At the storage unit tied to the key, officers found something chilling. Inside were personal items belonging to Marissa, her jacket, her purse, even her phone, neatly arranged, almost respectfully. On the wall, written in black marker, was a single sentence: "She saw too much." The evidence suggested this wasn't a crime of passion. It was controlled, planned, and Evan Cole might not have been acting alone. As Mitchell stood inside the storage unit, her phone buzzed with an incoming message from an unknown number. No words, just a photo. It showed Evan's car, parked somewhere else, taken days before the traffic stop. Someone had been watching long before the police ever were. The photo sent to Detective Mitchell triggered a silent alarm across the department. Surveillance footage was pulled, phone records subpoenaed, and Evan Cole was transferred to a high-security holding unit. Whatever had started this chain of events was bigger than a single suspect, and now it was clear someone else was still out there, watching the investigation unfold in real time. Mitchell dug into Evan's background with fresh eyes. Financial records revealed quiet but consistent deposits over the past 6 months, always just under the threshold that would raise automatic flags. The money traced back to shell companies with no real business activity, all linked to a logistics warehouse on the outskirts of the city. On paper, it looked legitimate. In reality, it was a dead zone. No employees, no shipments, no reason for activity. Meanwhile, Evan finally asked to speak again. This time, he didn't deny what was found in the car. He admitted to moving the body. He admitted to lying. But he swore he hadn't killed Marissa. His voice trembled as he explained that she'd stumbled into something she wasn't meant to see while cleaning offices after her diner shift. A meeting. A transfer. Names and faces that weren't supposed to exist outside that warehouse. They told me if I didn't help, my family would disappear, Evan said. They already proved they could do it. He described a group that didn't operate like a gang or a cartel. No tattoos. No street presence. Just men in clean clothes who paid on time and erased problems quietly. Marissa was never supposed to leave that warehouse alive, but Evan claimed the order came from someone above even them. As Mitchell listened, another problem surfaced. One of the officers assigned to evidence handling failed to show up for his shift. His phone went straight to voicemail. Hours later, his patrol car was found abandoned near the docks, engine still warm. Evidence began to vanish. Files were accessed without authorization. Leads went cold the moment they were shared. It became painfully clear that the investigation had been compromised from the inside. Mitchell trusted only one person now, her partner, Detective Aaron Blake. Together, they drove to the warehouse without backup, knowing protocol no longer mattered. Inside, they found a space scrubbed clean, except for a single office at the far end. On the desk sat a laptop, still powered on. The screen displayed a live video feed. It showed Mitchell and Blake standing inside the warehouse. And beneath the video, a message appeared. "You're asking the wrong questions." The lights shut off. And somewhere in the darkness, footsteps began to move. The warehouse went completely silent, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and makes every breath feel too loud. Mitchell's hand tightened around her weapon as the laptop screen flickered, then went black. The emergency lights failed next, plunging the room into near-total darkness, broken only by thin blue moonlight bleeding through high, dusty windows. "Police," Blake called out, his voice steady but low. No answer came back. Only movement, slow, deliberate footsteps circling them, never close enough to pinpoint. They moved together, backs nearly touching, sweeping corners as they advanced. The smell hit first. Industrial cleaner layered over something metallic and old. Blood that had soaked too deep into concrete to fully erase. This place hadn't just been a meeting point. It had been an execution site. A door creaked open at the far end of the warehouse. Light spilled out. Inside was a small control room filled with monitors, servers, and files stacked neatly in labeled boxes. Every screen displayed faces, drivers, clerks, cops, judges. People woven into a quiet machine that moved contraband, silenced witnesses, and erased mistakes. Then a voice spoke from behind the glass. "You should have stopped at the traffic stop." A man stepped into view, calm, well-dressed, his badge clipped to his belt. Captain Reynolds. Internal Affairs. The one person Mitchell never questioned because his job was to question everyone else. He explained it without emotion. The organization didn't need chaos. It needed predictability. Clean records. Trusted faces. Evan Cole was expendable. Marissa wasn't. She'd recognized Reynolds during the warehouse meeting and panicked. That recognition had sealed her fate. "You found the car because I wanted you to," Reynolds said. "Loose ends have a way of tightening themselves." Sirens wailed outside. Blake had quietly triggered the warehouse's silent alarm before entering. Reynolds smiled, unfazed. "You think this ends with me?" he asked. Gunshots echoed. Officers poured in. Reynolds was taken down, screaming that it didn't matter, that others would replace him by morning. The servers were seized. Names went public. Careers collapsed overnight. Evan Cole later testified, his sentence reduced but his life forever fractured. Marissa's family finally learned the truth, not justice, but enough to bury her without questions. Months later, Mitchell drove past that same stretch of highway. Another car sat pulled over. Red and blue lights flashed against the darkness. She kept driving. Because now she knew, some crimes don't start in alleys or basements. They start with a routine traffic stop. And if you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.